Hey everybody, and welcome back. My name is Bubba, and this is Coffee Break. In this podcast, we go over the coffee industry's most interesting coffee-related news, podcasts, and resources. If it's your first time here, welcome. If it's your second, third, fourth time, if you're returning, welcome back. If you like what you see, please do us a favor, hit the like button to get this in front of other people's eyes, to kind of spread the word a little bit. If you have any comments or questions or suggestions on things that you would like to see or would like us to cover, please put that in the comment section below. And if you want to get updated on the most recent drops, please hit that subscribe button. Cool, let's get into it. And our first story of the day talks about, major coffee buyers face losses as Colombia farmers fail to deliver. So it looks like there is a lot of coffee in Colombia that is not going to be shipped. A lot of these farmers are defaulting on their contracts, and I believe it's about 1 million pounds, which is about 10% of the total output of what they normally do, which is equivalent to about $50 million, I believe. They're saying that the price of coffee could go up to as high as about $3 per pound. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. There's actually something that I'm kind of learning myself. But one thing that the article states here, it says delivery defaults in a rallying coffee market are a huge issue for commodity exporters and traders who often hedge physical purchases by taking short positions in the futures market. So shorts and positions, I know of it, I just don't know a whole lot about it. I'm going to do more research and come back to you with more information about that. But it says it's causing them to sustain steep losses as prices rise. Usually traders would be able to sell the physical coffee they are owed at current lofty rates in order to offset the future market loss. But in the case of default, they can't. Defaults can also force traders to purchase supplies pre-sold to roasters at a loss in the pricey spot market. And actually something really interesting that happened in the podcast last week with the Coffee Town Hall is they talked about defaults. Got a little more information there, but I definitely want to find out more, learn more, and get back to you because maybe this is something that you're interested in as well. But yeah, a lot of stuff happening in Colombia right now, a lot of coffee being delayed like you see in a lot of different places. Yeah, pretty interesting. So our next story talks about lab-grown coffee. I didn't know much about lab-grown coffee. I've heard about it, but this is probably the first article that I've seen that kind of dives in a little more detail. A lot of it talks about, with the climate the way it is and everything, and with deforestation happening, and a lot of crops of the drought and then the frosts. There is potentially a need in the future to have lab-grown coffee, make it available, stuff that tastes very similar to coffee but takes a lot less to produce, and it's a lot faster to produce. I think with this initial one from Atmos, I believe, or Atmo, they did a test on it. They said it tastes kind of like a cross between black coffee and black tea, kind of more tea-like. It's not approved for consumption, so the person that tried it wasn't able to actually drink it. They just kind of swirl it around their mouth. But yeah, it's a culture. They cultivate it. They roast it and grind it. It's kind of a trip. It says the process requires no pesticides and has a much lower water footprint. And because of this, it can produce local markets and cuts down transport emissions. The one that Atmo makes, they're, I believe, a Seattle-based company. They use ingredients such as date extracts, chicory root, grape skins. They add caffeine. They roast it, they grind it, and they brew it. It said it results in a 93% lower carbon emission and 94% less water used in conventional coffee production. And doesn't have to do anything and doesn't affect like deforestation and everything. These are the huge tanks that they kind of make the concoction in, the brew in. And it basically says they convert compounds from plant waste into the same compounds contained in green coffee. Article also goes on to talk about, there was a survey done in Canada and said about 72% of people say they would not drink lab-grown coffee. I don't know if I would. I'd probably taste it to see what it tastes like. I don't know if I drink it. It's something that I think adoption-wise will take a while to get people used to. But in the end, like if that's the only thing that's available, and coffee production drops like a crazy amount, I mean, who knows? People need to get their fix, right? So it's kind of a trip thinking about that. Um, One thing that they were saying in the article was that, and this is kind of on the opposite end of it, is that there's a huge risk, and that's that the lab grown coffee could create significant socioeconomic problems that could drive even greater climate change effects. They said it's not clear if, in the end, its net effect may worsen global sustainability along with many millions of lives. So let's say they do start growing a lot of this lab grown coffee, right? So they're producing a lot, they're reducing a lot of water usage, not a whole bunch in regards to like transporting and going from Africa, South America up here and like to the States or around the world. What happens to all these families that's their primary source of income, right? Like what happens to these people? Now they have no income coming in. What do they do for money to survive? So it's kind of crazy to think that, yeah, it kind of helps in one way, but in another way, it kind of shakes the system up a lot, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, good thing is this is probably years and years out. I think they said they have 4 more years until they could potentially get some kind of approval for being able to sell the lab grown coffee. But yeah, kind of trippy stuff that you don't really see with the coffee market. And our next story talks about the company Oatley, oat milk and such. They're starting a research and innovation center at Wilborg's Innovation Hub in Science Village that they're dubbing Space. This building right here, big old cube. A whole bunch of certifications, like LEED certifications and such. About 6,000 square meters, the article talks about. And what they hope is that a lot of individuals, companies, and researchers will kind of get together and focus on what they're saying is to help develop the sustainable solutions of tomorrow. That's a tongue twister. The objective of Oatley's investment in Lund is to thoroughly examine the potential of oats to lead the transition to more plant-based food system. A shift to more food-based diet is crucial for creating a food system within the planet's limitations, and oats have a major unrealized potential and could become an important part of solutions. So I'm kind of curious to see what they see and what they're seeing in oats. For me, oats, yeah, they give you a lot of energy, but like what else can they do? I'm really curious to see what they develop and what they kind of come out with, not only food wise, but biomaterial wise, like creating things, maybe, let's say, like clothing or building materials, or I don't know. Very curious. Yeah, we'll kind of keep an eye on that. Cool. And the podcast that I found that was pretty good this week was from Keys to the Shop. The topic was, do you need experience to open a coffee shop? So long of the short, do you need experience? Probably not. Is it good that you do have some kind of experience, even if it's some basic understanding, like maybe talking to a coffee shop owner? Yeah, it'll help you a lot. It's not saying that you can't be successful, because there's a lot of places that I believe people who don't have experience, they open a shop and they are successful. But kind of like anything, right? If you get a tutor with something, it helps increase your chances that you'll be successful in whatever subject matter that may be, right? Same thing with this. The more experience you have, the better position you'll be to be successful. And a lot of times, what it does is you're cutting down a lot of learning time that you would have to go through and experience on your own by just leveraging somebody else's experience or just getting your own experience ahead of time. Really good conversation, or talk rather. Didn't really talk to anybody, but it was more of like he's just kind of talking it through himself. It did reference a book, and I'm going to actually link it as well. It's here. It's called What I Know About Running Coffee Shops. I'll link everything. You can check that out if you have thought about opening your own coffee shop and are kind of on the fence or like really want to plan for it in the future. A really good initial conversation. I would recommend getting some kind of experience, like the guy said, even if it's just talking to a coffee shop owner. But if you're able to pull a shift or two behind a coffee bar, cool. Even more power to you, because that kind of experience, it's gold. Like for you to be able to know what it is to be like a barista, and what it takes, and the energy and the care and the effort. Just being able to be empathetic to your workers and their situations, and do whatever you can to make sure that they're taken care of. They help, because if they're taken care of, that translates to the customers. It's all positive all the way down, and hopefully that leads to better sales and everything. But yeah, if you're looking to open a coffee shop, go ahead and definitely check out this quick little 13-minute podcast, I believe, and check out that book, What I Know About Running Coffee Shops. Heard it's really good. I'm actually going to pick it up and read it through myself. We got a big event coming up. This is the Milan World Coffee Championships. This is going to take place October 22nd to the 26th. This is the culmination of all the different regional cups and championships and such that have been going on over the last, certain amount of time, year or so. You got the Brewers Cup coming up, the World Tasters Cup champion, and the World Barista champion. So pretty big. I'm looking forward to kind of watching. Hopefully everything's streamed live. I can check that out. I would like to go to Milan, but really can't. I think that's a lot of us right now. But if we can watch it online, it's always cool. It's cool to see that side of things, the really showy part of the coffee industry. And a lot of these people who do compete, they put a lot of time and energy and effort and a lot of money behind just getting to that point. It's kind of a trip to actually realize and how much money is spent getting these people prepared and prepped to these places. And the next story talks about the winners of the 2022 Roaster of the Year. So Roast Magazine, they chose their Roasters of the Year. The winners are, the Micro Roaster is Little Waves Coffee Roaster, based out of Durham, North Carolina. And the Macro Roaster of the Year is Huckleberry Roasters. These guys are based out of Denver. I'm going to put links to their individual websites in the show notes, so you can check them out. If you want to order coffee, go ahead and support them. Congratulate them if you can. Send them a little message. And yeah, it's always fun to support the others in our coffee community. Cool, but that's all I got for today. Again, if you like what you heard, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to hear anything in particular, you want me to cover any topics in particular, definitely let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to get notified of any new drops, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time. You guys have a good rest of your day. Bye.